Airbnb reported their earnings. The third quarter revenue was above market estimates. Company expects to gain from a rebound in urban and international travel. Airbnb receives a majority of its revenue from outside the U.S. They said global cross-border bookings rose 16% in the quarter from a year earlier. Now, demand for domestic hotel has been flat in the U.S. as the pandemic restrictions ease, and a strong U.S. dollar encourages consumers to book flights and stay overseas. The short-term rental, however, which has a large presence in cities, they said it saw an acceleration in the total growth of night booked from the first to the second quarter in North America. So before we get into the analysis, let's look at a quick video from Yahoo Finance.
And that's Airbnb trading lower, down more than 4% right now after reporting its Q2 earnings. It's a beat on the top and bottom line for the company. Let's run through those numbers. Their revenue coming in at $2.5 billion versus $2.4 billion that was expected. Adjusted earnings per share coming in at 98 cents. Airbnb seeing strength in gross bookings coming in above the street's estimates at 19 billion. That's 13% higher than last year. But here's the big miss. Nights and experiences booked. They reported 115.1 million, up 11% year on year, but the street was expecting 118 million. Airbnb saying that guests are traveling further. Cross-border nights growing by 16% in Q2 compared to a year ago. Worth going back to this number, though. We're talking about nights and experiences being a miss. Also, average daily rate showing slower growth. It was up just 1% year on year. ADRs, by the way, down 2% in North America as hosts reduced some of their prices. So if you'll recall, Airbnb has been putting in a lot of these features to really, as they've described it, add value onto their platform, whether it's rooms or pricing transparency. And they have said they're seeing those consumers really choose value. Now, on the one hand, that's good because they're booking on Airbnb, but that's also bringing the average daily rate down a little. Now, outlook in terms of guidance for the quarter, we are seeing them the company saying they expect to deliver revenue of $3.3 billion to $3.4 billion. But interesting insight here, especially in the travel space. Airbnb has been a really strong name, but they have seen a bit of a pullback, at least on average daily.
All right, so we're going to scroll out to the weekly chart, and we did have weekly buyers at the $100 level. Price could not get to the level. Depending on how you drew the zone, it worked out. If I put the top end of the zone right at the top of this basing candle, well, it did hit, right? But I typically draw my zones at the bottom of the top of the body of the basing candles, and so I would have missed the trade. Price did eventually break out of this sideways. One thing to note: this would have been a bear trap. You know, you have the support resistance traders who would have sold the short, only to be met with buyers at the $100 level. Nevertheless, price did eventually break out. It did form another area of interest. Let's just put a zone right there. That is another weekly buyers level, this time at the 128. For the bulls, you did close above the most recent highs. Pivot high at 144. Nevertheless, price was met with significant volume. That is a weekly seller's level. And we will mark these zones here. We'll call that 159. And we're going to call this here 129. So price finds itself in the middle between a seller's level and a buyer's level on the weekly chart. In the middle, you're at equilibrium. You have to play the extremes, right? The sellers were in control here, which is why you had this decline in price. The buyers were in control here, which is why price rose higher. Let's scroll down to the daily chart. So the question is, has prices are off its lows, currently in the middle of the top and bottom range of the day. This is not a level of interest. Yeah, if price can come back down $10 or so, that'll be a great opportunity to go long. If prices close over the next couple of days below the 26-day moving average, I'm looking for price to continue to decline. So here's the setup. If pricing can get down to the weekly bias level at 129, look for it to go higher and retest the most recent highs at about 155. Look for a target at 150 before the initial origin of the selling pressure. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like the video.